Good morning and welcome back to Spidz YouTube. Today we're going to be going over the Swiss seeding games. We played 4 rounds. If you go to seeding Swiss, there was round 1, round 2, round 3, and round 4. How this works, and it's a little bit complicated when you look at it on the spreadsheet, but the really easy explanation for this is that in the first 2 rounds, you will fight 2 teams, right? Based on this thing and then based on this thing. If you win, you'll go into you'll fight another team that won. If you lost, you'll fight another team that lost. If you win both, you're already going to be in the top 2. If you lose both, you're in the bottom 2. And if you go 1-1, you're in these 4, right? These 2 teams fight. These 2 teams fight. Whoever wins gets 1st, 2nd. Whoever wins gets 7th, 8th. These 2 teams fight twice, again, doing another Swiss to determine it. That's basically it. You can draw a big line in the center to determine what that's going to look like, right? You can see whatever happened, right? We lost a Bass Pro Shop, so we beat Bass. We beat not Tron, right? The negation of we beat Tron. And then we beat MRT. Looking at our lineups, we were the only ones not to bring a Tristana. Everyone else brought a Tristana. We were on Kennen, Samira, Karma, Sett, and Gwen Jace. Now, I'm going to be extremely honest here. This was purely just opens practice for me. I wanted to see specifically Gwen Jace and Kennen, Samira. Do I want to bring these decks to the open? That's what this entirely was focused on. I know Tron did the exact same thing because I hang out with the Tron guys rather regularly. And they were viewing it in basically the same way. Now, winning would be nice, but if I won, it would be more valuable to me that it means that the lineup makes sense and the decks are good, rather than us winning being, hell yeah, we're first, we get to pick who our first opponent is. When it comes to the top cut, you have to beat all the enemy gamers anyway. And so I'm not going to like put all our eggs into the basket of winning our first enemy gamer. I mean, like, if you go to the if you go into the bracket, right? Whoever wins out of our games fights Red Pups. Like, I know this is Chip. We've just seen what this is going to be. This is Chip. This is Bass. Even if we win or lose to Bass, whatever team is fighting Red Pup or Chip, right? In that sense, once we get to this week, this whole Swiss thing didn't matter at all. And, you know, money only matters here on. Now, I know there's a second bracket, although I'm struggling to find it, where there'll be a loser's bracket. Because I was told there would be a yeah, this is top bracket. There's definitely a loser's bracket, because you can get 5th and 6th money. But because I couldn't care too much, I was also busy with uni the entire week and the week before that. That's why our lineups were also bad the week before that. We were in cartwheels a lot. I decided to bring this. So let's quickly go over these decks. Jace Gwen is not Inferno. Jace Gwen is a deck that I've been really, really enjoying, the Sentinel's Control deck, and this was really good on ladder about a week and a half prior to the tournament, before Nasus was a thing, and Nasus demolishes this deck. I know you've got a sampling line and stuff, but you genuinely have no efficient way of dealing with their threats, such as 5/5 Rock Bears and Carnivore and Dragon. And by having no efficient ways of dealing with those, you're going to have to spend a vengeance on them, and then at that point you're losing to Nasus, right? Nasus into Rekindler is just a combo that you're not able to deal with. I had a game against Sir Termund on ladder where he drew all 5 copies of Nasus, and I nearly won, but I drew my absolute best hand, and they didn't have Vaults, right? This matchup is awful for the Nasus matchup, and because of that, this deck becomes a lot less reliable to play in the video game. It's already not the strongest deck. It feels good when you beat enemy gamers that you're like beating them based because they're not playing particularly well. I don't want to say the word skill diff, but often on ladder, sometimes you can find that decks that aren't good do well. And there are matchups that this does really well into. For example, when I was playing this on ladder, I ran into Nick Makes Plays playing Samira Jinx like 5 or 6 times. That's an exaggeration, it was 3. But that's an easy matchup, right? Because you just kill all their units with High Note and Mystic Shot, and then you just win, right? I really liked this deck, but what you're going to see during this tournament is that this deck struggled to get any wins, and it's why I didn't bring it to the open. I brought the other 2 decks to the open, but I didn't bring this to the open. But because I was trying to practice and see, does this deck still work? I brought it this week. It doesn't do particularly well, and so I didn't decide to bring it to the open. Sett Targon was a deck I was quite enjoying. I saw on a San2P Twitter that someone was running a version with Grandfather Fay, and I thought, hey, that's cute. Let's see how Grandfather Fay feels in the deck. I don't think it feels particularly great. The other card that I saw in the San2P deck was, it's not a San2P deck. It was someone that won a Brazilian tournament, and they would, you know, San2P post what the list looked like, and I always check them because they're interesting often. I don't think Twitter's a great website. I think if you want to interact with the LOA community, you can choose Reddit, Discord, or Twitter. And you can choose 1 or you can choose 3. Either way, you're going to have good and bad. I think being like this one's so much worse and this one's so much worse isn't a particularly useful bit of philosophy. I personally prefer Discord the most. But one of the things I really like about Twitter is a Santup, who will post the winning decks of every single tournament, and he uploads them as images, which means you can actually just look at the deck list without having to type the code and put it into another thing. And I really like that. So one deck was on Grandfather Pay, another deck was also on Blinded Mystic. And I thought Blinded Mystic was really, really cute. They cut down on Celestial Impact, they're on 0. But Blinded Mystic made a lot of sense to me as a way to deal with stuff like the boat in the Tristana deck, as a way to deal with stuff like Shelly, if they're still on that in Samira Fizz or Inferna, but most people aren't on that in those decks anymore. It's kind of a break into the Samira Fizz, to be completely honest. It does well into stuff like Shen J4. It doesn't do amazingly into Shen J4, but shutting down one of their like 2-mana units is okay. Now you're going to notice that we do a misplay regarding Blinded Mystic in this set, and it's partly because this was my first time playing with Blinded Mystic in this sort of archetype, so you're seeing me like doing the growing pains of understanding a deck, right? I barely played any of these on ladder prior, so this was my practice, right? And there's a few other things like that. I thought this deck was really interesting. I did bring this at the tournament. In the Runeterra Open, I'll actually quickly open it up for you. It shouldn't be too difficult. Runeterra. If I go to my spreadsheet and we go to tourney lineup results, and we go to Glory Navori WQO standard, Sett Targon went 8-1 and had 2 bans. By the way, I haven't filled this in. I got lazy, basically. This is a really good score for a deck. I'm really happy with how Sett Targon went in the Open, and that's based on my experience with it today. I ended up taking out the Grandfather phase into the Open version, but we're talking about this version. These are the cards that you need to be paying attention to. Last is Kennen Samira. This is like my 3rd time playing this deck. NEMR sent me a version of this deck that wasn't on the Black Flame, and I was like, hold on, isn't the Black Flame great? Because you can just put Kennen in it, and then every time you attack, you'll summon a Kennen. I didn't realize Black Flame said the first time. So I took Black Flame out after I realized that, but I already submitted the deck lists. I really like this list. I really do not like a few of the cards that are in it now, such as the Black Flame. I really don't like 2 copies of Sign-In. I think 2 copies of Sign-In is too many. I think 1 copy of Sign-In is cute, but I honestly kind of want to cut it as well. I just don't know what to add in response. Maybe something like a all-out, like a main deck all-out. The other thing is that this deck did change a lot. There was a lot of cards that I did add to it. In the Open, I added the Healing Lady, the Sett Healing Lady. Her name is Smooth Mixologist. It helps against monkeys. It helps against a lot of stuff. It's the only real easy access you do have to healing in the deck. And because you can recall it a lot, if you draw that card, you're not going to be worried about burn from any enemy gainers. The other cards I changed around was I ended up adding another Wuju style from memory and one other thing. I don't remember what it was. But this deck felt really fun. This is some of the most... I say this a lot, but this is one of the more fun decks I've played in LOR. In the last few months, I've really been enjoying this deck and Gwen Jace and a few other... and Gwen Alawi from CDS. These are the decks that I've had the most fun with messing around with. I said with twice. You can't stop me. But this was me getting practice on this deck. Now, I told Roma and Gamzee that I'm going to be busy for a few days, but I'm going to be playing Kennen Samira. Would you guys like to get practice on it? So they decided to get some practice on Kennen Samira. So in the first 2 games, you're going to hear them suggest to me what they would do in positions, and I just go with it. Having played this deck a little, I understand a little bit more about the play patterns. I never really played Ari Kennen. I tried to play a few games of it because I love the card Go Hard, but it just didn't make sense to me as an archetype. I didn't really understand what I was going for. Now I understand a lot more about the specific types of value that Bastine, Disciple, and Droplet give you. And I find this deck extremely enjoyable now. That's why I brought it to the Open. And I still think this is one of the better decks in the format that not enough people are playing. It's got some weird matchup tables, and you really need to know what you're doing in all of your matchups and playing to your best of your ability. Oh, I added a deny, by the way, to this deck when we played in the Open, which was important for beating monkeys. I just think having 1 deny is really, really cute. But yeah, that's all of my decks. I think I've been talking for quite a while about my decks. Our first enemy gamer is obviously Bass Proshops, who was Mtuck, Icado, Cash, and Cephalopod. It was only Mtuck and Icado that day because the other 2 were busy. That I didn't know at the time. So I just assumed I was fighting all of them. And this was their lineup. Now, I have no idea what we banned, but I think if I was to ban this now, I would be banning Tristana Na with this lineup. That's what I would ban first, especially when this was in the Open. I think if I was presented this, I would ban Tristana Na. But I think there's good reasons to ban all of them, especially if they're on Inferno. Like that allows me to use my Blinded Mystic. So I think I would be banning Tristana Na. But yeah, we'll go over the games. We'll do our regular vote on stuff. Okay, I had to accidentally fix something, but let's do the review.
base Daikado.
Yeah, let me increase the time. As much as I love to hear Roma's voice, let me increase the time. Or the speed, rather.
Sorry. Now I'm picturing that. For the sake of starting the matches on time, I kind of just shouts from his bathroom to communicate with.
I mean, you gotta do what you gotta do. If that's what they need to do to win, then so be it.
That's the only joke. I just needed you guys to see that joke. Okay. Basically, they take ages to play the game because Aikado's on the loo. I was actually concerned that we'd run out of time because he just on a tight schedule, but they ended up having enough time.
I don't wish to... Okay, good. Alright, Tristana, ban.
Cool. I agree with this ban.
They banned Gwen Jace. Okay, Basato. Let's start with this deck because it's easier. I mean, not Basato. This is the only deck I really wanted to play. I wanted to play this deck more than any other, but okay. Sure.
Okay, I would have thought that was actually Gwen Jace, but okay.
No, that's what I meant. They banned Gwen Jace, so I'm upset. Because that's the deck I wanted to play tonight.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, so I think we want, like, Fallen Star. Perfect. I think do we want Deny? We don't really need Deny, I don't think. The only thing we can deny is Relentless Pursuit and, like, Jarvan's Cataclysm. So we don't need Deny. I think a mulligan like this is fine. We could keep Sett if we want.
Exactly one rally, so yes.
Yeah. Do you want to keep Sett, or do you want to kill Sett?
I don't mind keeping him.
Okay, we'll keep him.
Yeah, so this was an interesting mulligan. I definitely think Falling Star is correct. It kills a lot of the stuff such as Broadwing, such as the 3-1, such as, you know, blocking Badger Bear, right? Sett is interesting because there's a lot of stuff that punishes Sett, such as like specifically timed cataclysms or challenger units, right? But what Sett does say is Sett says when I challenge your unit, you will have to play one of the cards in your hand to protect it. And that can honestly just be like a decent resource exchanging mechanism, while also inevitably getting a block. What does suck about Sett, though, is that he's like the perfect Jarvan 4 target, right? Perfect amount of stat line for Jarvan 4 to go for. Important unit, that's what Jarvan wants to attack, right? So I think if I was to do this again, I would probably cull Sett. But because we have Falling Star, we've already got like one of the better cards. If we imagine like this is all the draws that we could have, we're at least on this side of the curve as opposed to this side of the curve. So there's reason to keep Sett just to make it less, like, you know, a less high bell curve and more of a wider bell curve. But I don't know. I think there's reasons to do both, but I think in retrospect, I probably would have culled Sett from the hand.
Alright, we've got a lot of early units, which is nice.
This is quite a
And
good
we'll probably
hand.
Blinded Mystic, Screeching Dragon, or Sacred Protector. Or Kinku Student or Greenglade Caretaker, to be honest. We've got a lot of good options for Blinded Mystic. Kinku Student might be the best one, though.
This is quite a good hand.
Broadwing, I think we should just let that happen and then play Youngling. I think. What are we gonna Falling Star? Will Falling Star Badger Bear, I presume?
Falling Star on this might not be bad, actually.
Okay, I don't hate just doing Falling Star on this immediately. We'll do it.
Don't have the other birds, so it's their only early chance.
Yeah. We'll do this and then we'll play Youngling, I think.
I think that's a pretty valid play. This Falling Star thing is all right. Look, if they retain the 0-1, the challenger, that's not awful for them, right? They can't afford Fallen. Never mind. So this is a guaranteed kill. I think it's fine. We are going to struggle with methods to deal with the 4-4 blocking Badger Bear and a few other things. This is not a high priority target, but it's also a guaranteedly killed target, which is a weird issue to deal with. You really want your removal pieces to be spent on their most important unit so that you're getting as much value as you can. But value is also determined by like the reliability of destroying something. I think it might have just been better to develop this. It means that we can develop this and the Owlcat next turn. We've got 3 units, and if we draw something like a Concussive Palm, we're gonna be like in an amazing position. But there are also worlds where we play these units and they also develop a bunch of challenger units with barrier, and then all of a sudden we're not able to deal with their board and the Broadwing will never die and it will continue trading into us. So there are definitely weird positions where like not Falling Star here does call us our demise. But I think it might have been safer just to play the Owlcat man. But I'm not sure.
I mean, we could pass and just see what they do. I don't hate that, actually. Because we might want to play Grandfather Fair if they play something with 3 strength, right? Or 3 health. Caretaker. We could just do Priestess if we want. Or maybe we should just do Youngling.
I think I prefer Youngling.
There's weird plays. If they do Shen, we might want to do like Blinded Mystic Youngling to kill Greenglade Caretaker. So I think I want to do Youngling. But this is close. Like, I think all three of these are good options. Kinky Student. Okay, if they play... Oh, we can attack here, by the way.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
I don't know if this is the right deck. Okay, good. If they play Shen, we'll Blinded Mystic Kinku Student. Or do we just Blinded Mystic Caretaker? Do you have a preference?
Let's go ahead, definitely.
Kinky Student? Yeah, that'll stop Shen from leveling quicker. Yeah, I think I like Kinky Student.
So this is a fascinating play. And I'm not talking much because I'm really thinking hard about what the right plays are here. I think this makes sense as a non-committal play on the prior turn. However, I think once we could have seen this and thought our lose condition involves a Shen hand, and I think in the event of a Shen hand we want this. And I think we want this because I think we're going to inevitably be blocking one of these units, and we want to have something that we're okay blocking with, both the Grandfather Fae and the little unit that spawns after it. And so in that event, I think I would have rather played Grandfather Fae because I know they're going to have things that we're going to want to block, right? While now we don't actually have anything we want to block with. Now, the choice between this or this, I think is really tough. Going for this makes sense because we don't actually have ways of dealing with Shen. So delaying the Shen level up means that we're going to be on less of a clock earlier, which is the same thing as saying delaying our clock. But then this also pressures a clock as long as we don't have chomp blockers, right? Or it forces chomp blockers out, which is the same thing as pressure, right? So there's both, like, they're both pressuring just in different manners, right? The Shen pressures via having, when a wide board is developed, all of these having 6 strength instead of 3 strength. And this pressures by requiring a chump block every turn, so these are more likely to get in. I think both are pretty reasonable things to try and target. And I'm not sure what the right play was. I think in the end, it was probably correct what we did. But I can totally see worlds where you justify the Greenglade Caretaker. Now we've got Tag Out. What Tag Out does allow us to do is that we can recall this unit and then target this again and then try and nullify their board into just having a 3 and a 1. Which isn't a bad play, but it's also costing all of our turns, all of our mana, and we're not able to develop anything else. And our hand doesn't have fast speed interaction while this is a fast speed interaction piece. So if we don't draw anything over the next 2 turns to deal with something like a Jarvan, like a Concerted Strike, or not a Concerted Strike, a Concussive Palm or something, we're going to have a really awkward time dealing with just the sheer girth of their board. So we have a few issues apparent in front of us. I think if I was to redo how we've played this, I would have wanted to play this over the Youngling. I think I still agree with this, and I think I still agree on this, but that doesn't mean I'm happy about this being what our best play is. It's not an exciting position for me to be in. Now, notably, Falling Star wouldn't have helped us anymore because now they've got barrier on all their units, so Falling Star won't do too much. So I think seeing this board state now, Falling Star on the Broadwing is definitely correct.
But when they attack with Shen and Caretaker, we're going to need a block with them, Blinded Mystic here to avoid damage. That's why I kind of wanted to do Caretaker, but I think both are fine plays. They should do this attack. They're going to think about our Falling Star, I think. We could also tag out our own Blinded Mystic. Hold on, is that actually really good? Like tagging out our own Blinded Mystic?
Yeah, I was about to suggest that. I don't know if you want to keep Tag Out or something else.
We can keep tag out the Sett is the other reason to keep it out, right? What interaction do they have? They're not on Concerted, they're only on single. Yeah, should we just do tag out now?
I would be tempted to do that, but I've not played this deck at all.
I think it's good, because I think we'll just silence this unit, and then like, what are we scared of? We're scared of like big Jarvan boards, or Sacred Protector boards, maybe? Maybe we won't play it immediately because of Sacred Protector? I think we could, I mean we've got Solari Priestess and we can kill the thing. I think I'm gonna play Blinded Mystic now, and just like destroy Greenglade Caretaker. If we do this, they would have to single combat immediately.
Yeah.
No, I think it is Blinded Mystic.
Yeah, that sounds fair.
But it's very close. I mean, this is a very short-term thinking approach. If they've got Sacred Protector or something, this could definitely be the wrong play.
let's talk about these few plays. First off, I know I don't talk with my team as much as I really should. I kind of regret how I respond with my team on it. But I think the tag out makes sense. We've got 2 options for tag out. We can keep it for... Oh, we got 3. Keep it for Sett. Keep it for this. Recall Jarvan. Right? I think all of them are valid uses of tag out. I think recalling Jarvan's unfortunately just not something we're able to justify just because we really need to stem aggression. Although, I should mention that, like, instead of playing this, we could have played this and just blocked this unit for another turn, as opposed to playing this, which is only 1 unit. I think we could have developed 3 units and been a lot more safe into their board state, right? It's not that they've only got 3 units. They're going to at least have 2 more, right? They're going to have this, and they're probably going to have Jarvan. And if they don't have Jarvan, that's kind of surprising. So I think that maybe just playing Blighted Mystic was wrong. We have spent a total of like 10 mana, and all we have done is silence this and summon a not particularly large unit. That's almost too much mana to be using. Our other option was to use it on a Sett. What we could have done is we could have developed Sett, challenged this unit. They could protect it either by doing a single combat pre-committally or by playing barrier. All of those are fine things for us to experience, and we will still have to tag up for next turn. So I think a better play would have been to play Sett. Remember, Concerted Strike was rotated. We're no longer scared of things like Concerted Strike. So I think this was a much better play to just play Sett, and I think that would have been a better line to go for, generally speaking. Just because it allows us to pressure the board, it forces a card out of them, and even if they threaten Sett somehow, we can recall him, make them spend a bunch of stuff. Now, in the event that they have something like a barrier plus a single combat, and they pre-commit barrier, and they pre-commit single combat, we're probably dying, right? Now, because the Jarvan that they'll natively summon will challenge this, and then we need to find like a concussive palm, or else we're taking 1,000,000 damage. So that's why I didn't do Sett, right? That seems like a really scary line where they could kill Sett with a thing and a concussive, right? Or threaten Sett to the point where we need to use tag out. And I think it would be difficult to justify tagging out this unit defensively in response. We could also say we have to just play around or choose that they don't have barrier plus single plus Jarvan. Like, that's a much more specific hand. That's 3 cards we're saying they have. And that's what punishes us. You could make an argument that them having that specific hand of single, barrier, Jarvan just isn't something we should be scared of. So we should play Sett because that's the only hand that really punishes that player. And so if we're just saying they don't have that hand, just because it's an unlikely hand for them to have, just because it's got 3 variables, I don't inherently disagree that Sett would be a better line. But this was my line to try and do okay into stuff like Jarvan, was my thinking. But I think if I was to do this round again, I wouldn't have recalled this unit. I would have simply blocked with it. I would have played Sett. I would have been able to hold up tag out. I would have been able to play around most hands. I would be able to trade into this. And then I would have been able to tag out if they don't threaten Sett now when Jarvan eventually challenges me. I think that would be a much better line. So I regret the way that we played this game. I think there's a lot we could have improved in how we did this. This is also the first time I think any of us did this matchup. So be wary of that, I guess.
Or another one of those. Okay. If they've got Jarvan, we could be in a real pickle really quickly. That means Jarvan.
Jarvan was their top deck.
If we had done Sett, we could have interacted with their board a little more. We can try and find Concussive Palm if we really want. Or we could just develop Sett. Although Sett leaves us to single, which is really concerning. If we find Concussive or a Recall, we can prevent Jarvan from leveling. We also just need to like find Sunburst. Like maybe we should have done this just to give us Sunburst. But I think the correct play might end up being place your bets, because we're gonna have to deal with this board somehow, and that's gonna have to come through like an open Sunburst on Jarvan or something, right? I don't like this position at all. Okay, we got Sunburst, but that's it. Okay. No concussives, no nothing.
What we're talking about there quickly is that one of the ways, like, Jarvan is really scary when he's flipped, because then we can't ever develop Sett, because Sett will just die instantly. So I really wanted to find Concussive Palm, stun this, be able to keep this unit, heal, you know, through 2 health over the next few turns, then hopefully get a Sunburst for this. That was the hope. We needed hope for a high roll at this point because they did end up having the Jarvan. And I will just note, you know, if our seeing was this, especially after they played this unit, that we needed to hope for a high roll to beat Jarvan, we should have just played Sett to begin with, because at least we wouldn't have to be hoping for a high roll, right? So Sett was definitely the best play a few turns ago. But
we're gonna have to open Sunburst Jarvan, but it means like Shen will just kill us as well. I mean, unless we're supposed to open kill Shen, but that seems unlikely. I think we're passing to play Sunburst. How much mana do we have? 9. We can only do Sunburst and, like, Grandfather Fade unit. I guess we've got more if we use a coin.
Is there a reason not to play Youngling?
Yeah, because they could Cataclysm Youngling. Because they're gonna get the Cataclysm, right?
Ah, right, yes, of course.
I mean, they would have to Cataclysm with Shen, but I don't want them to give them that opportunity. I don't think. They're gonna have that anyway, though, so maybe that's just, like, a avoided concern to have. Like, they're gonna be able to Cataclysm next turn on any of these units, right? But I'd rather they do it on Grandfather Fade or something. Do we have a preference on what to Sunbets? Because I think both of them make sense. I guess if they've got second Shen, they'll just protect Shen and win, right? With Shen's spell. So we have to do it this way to have any sort of chance of not losing.
Yeah.
But I think we've lost this game. I think we probably needed Sunburst just like a little bit earlier. Okay, they had Shen spell. I mean, I guess they were gonna have Shen spell either way. This was a bad bit of logic. I should have hit either of them. Because Shen spell would have protected either one. But I don't think our hand is.
Yeah, so my logic about Shen spell is just completely wrong. For some reason I thought you had to target Shen a la earlier. But no, it's... If they had Shen spell, they would have protected a champion, so it doesn't matter which champion we target based on Shen spell, right? Shen spell doesn't change our choice of target, right?
Was necessarily going to be able to beat this deck.
Yeah, I mean... I also think that they just drew pretty well. They got to Caretaker.
Maybe, but I think we could have done slightly better as well. Are we able to possibly survive this attack? Like, what, Grandfather Fade, unit, Rorik Concussive Palm, Silence? I don't know if we can survive this attack. I think we should try to, but I don't think it's too likely. Okay, well I'm gonna do coin and try and survive this attack as best as I can.
Just play the coin.
We're not gonna win, but may as well try and survive as best we can. We need a top deck like a Concussive or something. And then, I don't know, somehow win via... We also didn't get Mixologist, which was a little bit saddening, because Mixo would have traded into a lot of this stuff. But I think we just needed an earlier Sunburst, and... Maybe the recall on the Blinded Mystic was too short-sighted. We're spending like 6 mana to kill like a 1 mana card, right? We probably should have just played Sett and like threatened protection or something.
I guess so.
That would have been better. But this is what happens when you play a match that you've never done before.
Yeah, so my in-game commentary is saying that definitely the Sett play was better. I think that makes sense because it's 6 mana just to kill this unit, which isn't a good enough investment. In terms of trying to, like, outvalue efficiently. Yeah. There's one other comment that I made that I wanted to respond to. Right, Rumor says that they high-rolled. I think that's kind of true, but because we could have played better, it's not worth talking about their high rolling, in my opinion. I've got a whole theory about this that I'm going to make a video about later on. But basically, if you, like, imagine the bars that determine, like, winning, right? Like, it doesn't matter what their bar is. Your bar always needs to be bigger than their bar anyway. And I don't see much value in, like, you know, if they don't high roll, their bar would end up looking a lot smaller, right? Like, their high roll increases their bar that allows them to win more. But we should have been able to, if our misplay cost us like this much more, right, which I think it probably did, then I only really want to focus on this. This is the only part that really matters to me, and we could have, you know, gone further and won the game. Yeah. So I think, like, you know, they did draw well, and we drew okay. We needed concussives, and one thing that I've edited in the deck when I brought it to the World Qualifier Open is that I ran Pit Professional. All the versions I saw weren't on Pit Professional, so I just assumed no one should be on Pit Professional, but Janspot or any one of them said be on Pit Professional. So I went on Pit Professional, and it felt great. I understand why. And Pit Professional definitely would have helped in this matchup quite a bit, just because it trades into this, it trades into this. We may not have had to use Falling Star if we had Pit Professional on a prior turn. That sort of stuff. Anyway, we lose this game.
I mean, okay, this was the bad matchup, right? And, like, you especially are not comfortable playing against Shen Jarvan.
That doesn't mean we can't. I know it could be improved, right? Oh, single combat.
Yeah, no, I mean... Okay.
I will note, they top deck Jarvan. One of the cards they had was single combat. If this is a barrier, then that Sett line would have lost us the game. But, you know, still interesting.
It's right to analyze it. I'm just saying. This is probably the worst that'll happen in this.
We're exactly dead by 1 mana, because this is 4 mana instead of 3. That's kind of funny.
Huh.
Wait, no, does that get 6 or 7? That's 6. Okay, hold on. No, we're still dead. Yeah, if this costs 1 less mana, we would be fine. But, you know. Yeah.
Oh, we wouldn't be, by the way. We'd still be dead.
Okay. Then we're going up against this Samira. We'll start with Sett Targon again. Just because it's probably... It's the deck I've got slightly more experience on, even if it won't be a great matchup. Okay, Sett Targon.
I think that's a misplay. I think I'm supposed to start with Ken and Samira because it's the deck I want more practice on. So as a human being, in the whole reason I wanted to play this tournament, I've currently misplayed. I should have played this deck because it's what I wanted to practice on to begin with. So playing this deck was a misplay.
So we just have to make sure we've got a game plan for Inferno and Powder Pandemonium and maybe Samira and Fizz. I think... I kind of want to keep this hand, to be honest. Blinded Mystic kills Inferno. I don't know if that's important enough to keep Blinded Mystic for though. It might be. Maybe we shouldn't. I mean, we're going to be Sunbursting Inferno as well, right? Like, we've got a bunch of things that answer Inferno. But it's also important, like, because it's a unit. It's so close.
I think it's safer without Mystic.
Possibly. But I'm going to keep Grandfather Phase and early blocker. And I'll keep Falling Star to kill Samira or something.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, interesting hand. Oh, they're going to do like a butcher?
Sorry, I know I haven't talked to the Mulligan. I'm really just listening and paying attention. I guess I'm not doing a good job of reviewing because I'm just watching and seeing, like, what am I thinking? What would I do in this position, even though I was in that position? So we had the option of Blinded Mystic. I think I'm correct in not keeping it. They've only got 2 copies of Inferno, and we've got, like, you know, 3 Sunburst, 1 of the Obliterate things. We've got, like, 2 copies of the woman that holds her spear above her head, Solari Invoke Lady. And we've also got obviously the 2 copies of Blinded Mystic. This is 8 cards that can deal with that pretty effectively, while we also need to make sure we do draw our answers for, you know, stuff like Butcher, right? Such as this card, such as the 3/4. So I think this made sense just because we've got so many cards that do the same job in terms of answering Inferno, while we want to make sure we've got enough cards that answer, you know, the 12 cards that are like Butcher and Elegant Edge and Father Fury and I don't know if they're on Dashing Dandy, but like Inferno, not Samira, for example, right? So I think I made the right mulligan choice.
No! I mean, this is a lot of damage. Like, this is gonna hurt a lot. I think we just do Grandfather Phase.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, if they double attack us, I'm probably just gonna double Falling Star them. But we'll see what they do. We're probably playing 2 Falling Stars this turn, unless we play Outcast. Alternatively, we could end up doing Concussive Palm, but I presume we're double Falling Starring this turn. This could be tough, though. We'll see. We'll see what... They're gonna think about, like, Flare opens or just regular opens. Okay.
Okay, there's a regular.
Yeah, I think we're just doing double Falling Star, right? Do you have any objections?
No, I don't think so.
Did you have an objection? Sorry, it was a little hard to hear you.
That's fine.
Okay. I think you said seems fine. There's a lot of difficulty in the, I think like in wind or something.
I feel so bad for Genzi during this whole thing.
Okay. Not great for us, but we've killed 2 of their main things. We'll play Owlcat and then we'll probably just... I mean, we should open pass that with Threatening Silence on Samira, I think. On Inferno. Flare. Monkey business. Okay. I'm gonna play Hungry Owlcat.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm okay with that. But we're gonna take a bunch of damage over the course of the next few turns, which scares me. And we don't have Deny for the Powder Pandemonium. Like, we'll be able to play Sett.
I will say, I don't think any of the plays that we've done so far are particularly difficult or analyzable, and I think my in-game commentary is doing a fine job. That's why I'm not speaking to it. I think, like, what I'm saying here is pretty logical, and I don't think there's too much else to be concerned about.
And stuff, but when we don't have that much mana.
Yeah, it looks pretty scary.
I sure hope they don't just play monkeys and hope that we don't have Deny. We don't, we have to do place your bets, but I hope they just don't do that. I think they're thinking about it. I think they're thinking about just ripping Deny right now. Ripping the monkey card right now. Maybe they've got 2 of them or something. They are. Fuck me dead.
No.
So look, what we could do is we can do, like, Concussive. But we're probably still taking too much damage. We're taking 8 if we do Concussive.
Yeah, it's 4+4, yeah.
I mean, we can recall our own concussive palm, which isn't bad. Alternatively, we could just do place your bets and try and find deny. But look, I think we should do place your bets, try and find deny, and if not, we'll just do concussive palm.
Yeah. Place your bets. At worst, we can still play concussive. Okay.
I hope they don't have any other units though, because this sucks. Here's this thing. I guess we should do it afterwards so that it doesn't get vulnerable.
Yeah.
If they've got pirouette, by the way, we just like lost. Not finding either of our denies is not particularly poggers, in my opinion. Am I supposed to stun anything in particular? I presume not.
No, there's no difference, I think.
If this happens, hold on, I'm just double checking. If we accept this right now, that's 6 damage plus 4 damage. We'd be going down to 1. So we lose to pirouette either way. I was just saying, like, we could maybe beat pirouette by not doing concussive right now.
What I'm just talking about there very quickly. We've got two options. Concussive right now. If we concussive right now, this gets, stunned. We block this, so we're taking 2 plus 2 plus the 4 of these, right? That's 8. Right? In the event of pirouette, we're dead. Our nexus is gone because we're not blocking the 4 from here, right? If we instead don't do concussive, but we do concussive on the stack when all their attackers are developed, we would instead we would be taking, because this would block here, we'd be taking 6 plus 4, which is 10, which isn't lethal until, again, they play pirouette on the dome and we lose, right? So either way, pirouette kills us. Just because this, if we do it this way, they do pirouette now, we take, 4 plus a million, we die. Or they do pirouette after combat, right? That's just what that quick comment was about. But yeah.
But look, if they've got pirouette, they've got pirouette. We're gonna lose to it either way because we just don't have the stuff. We could have done blinded mystic maybe to hit the monkey. But okay. 3 health, that's fun. Never mind, 1 health. That's less fun. Are we at 0? Okay. Sure, I would prefer to find deny, perhaps. But that's not the worst thing that could have happened. Youngling would have been really nice here. I guess that's really it. We just needed Youngling. Mixo would have been nice, because Mixo would heal 3 and block everything. We didn't find Mixo in either of those games. But look, this wasn't supposed to be a phenomenal matchup for us. It was supposed to be slightly difficult. And I'm not surprised that we lost. But we could have had different draws that could have given us better scenarios. I don't think we misplayed too much outside of recalling our blinded mystic, which I think we have to admit is wrong. But aside from that, I think we did as best we could with our hands. I think.
Yeah.
And then we've got at least 1 more game to play after this, but that'll be dependent on how well we do. Tristana.
Okay, now we're in the next set. So yeah, to just review that quickly, in game 1, right, is there a text feature? There is a text feature, right? No, I thought there was a text feature. There's not. Okay, in game 1, the main issue was turn 5, the recall, right? Turn 4, the recall, right? Because on turn 5, it's much better if we play Sett. Sett isn't going to win us that game, weirdly enough, because they did end up having J4 plus single. But if they didn't have the barrier, it would have stalled out a lot better. It would have done a better job of stalling than silencing that 1 mana unit, right? I think that's generally a true statement. In game 2, the main issue is simply draw better. And this is normally not a bit of logic that I like to talk about. But what I am going to say is that if you replace the word draw with a deck build better, such that your draws are simply better draws. Because inherently, right, if you change how your deck is created, the draws will be contingent on the deck build. And deck build better, I think, is true. I think if we were on the 3-3, we would have done a better time. And if we were on... It's mainly the 3-3. I think the 3-3 is just like a really nice card to have in a lot of these matchups. Alternatively, you could argue that we just should have been on PNZ. Now, I prefer Targon. I prefer Targon as a region. I prefer Targon's gameplay patterns. I don't really like PNZ gameplay patterns as much. But, we would have had Caustic Rift, and that would have saved us a bunch of health, right? For example. Or we would have had Mystic Shot, which also would have saved us a lot more than, say, the Fallen Star, which means you have to take 2 or 3 damage before you're even allowed to play Fallen Star, right? So there's a few things we could have done in Game 2. Game 2 was entirely like the way it would... Like this, we lost this in deck build, right? We lost this in submission. And we lost this both in submission, but primarily just from that one misplay that I think really changed the tempo of the game in a really important way. Where we were continually playing from behind tempo. Like, at the start of this game, we are already behind on tempo, right? Our deck is always less on tempo than their deck. That's just based on how that will work. Because their deck is much more, pressure focused and better at lower to the ground curves. while our deck has no tempo and just tries to stop the enemy tempo until we eventually win, right? And the deck build already incentivizes no tempo because we don't have the 3/3, right? The deck build is not built to have like high tempo occurrences, right? By recalling our 3/2 and replaying it, we've just admitted, yeah, we're going to go even lower in tempo and hopefully we'll just squeeze in through. While Sett would have balanced the tempo a lot more because he's Screeching Dragon with Barrier, and also if you play like 3 cards after after turn 7, he will like kill 2 units on field, right? So I think those are the main issues that happen in both of those games. Next up, we've got the Salty Simon matchup. S. I've always had lots of thoughts on Salty Simon as a player. My very first thought was that he was cool. When he won the first his seasonal, right? This was the Between World seasonal. Jace just recently released. He won the EMEA Open, and one of the quotes that he said in the EMEA seasonal when they did the interview was the question, like, he's from like a Northern European country, and the Mogwai and Impetuous Panda ask him, you know, how does it feel like to be, I don't know, the first person from XYZ country to win? And he says, bro, I don't care. Or he probably says it with a bit more swear words, but he basically says that he doesn't care. And my immediate response was like, based, because I too didn't care. If I won a tournament and they said, how does it feel like to be the first Australian to win? At the time of Between World Seasonal, I would have said the exact same thing. I would have said, who cares? I'm playing to play. Since then, I've had a bit more care about the Australianness. Not because I care personally, but I know that, like, Ionia more cares. And if, you know, me winning makes Ionia more happy because of oceanicness, then, like, cool, now it's more important to him. But personally, it doesn't really bother to me the Aussie-ness. Or even, like, womanness either. I don't think that matters to me much at all. Or I don't get anything better because I would be the first Australian to win the Open or whatever. That specific thing is less important to me. But when I heard Salty Simon echo that, I was like, okay, he's cool and based. Then the second thought I had about Salty Simon is that he was salty. And this was like what I thought about him for a long, long time, where all I knew about him a few months after this season was that he just complained a lot on twitter.com. And then literally today, we were doing the Aegis thing, the Aegis draw bracket who you're fighting, and Salty Simon joined midway through and just said like the funniest stuff for like a good like 30 minutes. I was muted during a lot of that, but I was like cackling like crazy just listening to this guy to not know what players are, not know what the words are. It sounds like he's like stupid, but it's just like the way in which he proclaims his sentences are some of the most humorous things I've heard from another individual. And so now he's back to being cool and based. That's just my little Salty Simon comments. About this matchup, Salty Simon was the only one playing. His teammates, right, so his team is called BBBSS. This is Salty Simon, he was playing. By Attack was doing something else, I don't know, probably practicing the seasonal or going in jail, one of the two. And Broken Ball just couldn't be fucked, is my understanding. And Salty Simon was also watching One Piece or some other anime. So I only know this now, that they weren't actually trying very hard. At the time, I thought like, oh my god, I'm fighting like a seasonal winner and Worlds player and also Broken Ball who beat me last time. This is going to be really difficult. In the end, it was just Salty Simon and he wasn't paying attention. So this win is a lot less cool to me now. But at the time, when we won this matchup, I was really, really excited because I was like, hell yeah, this is what I wanted to do. I wanted to see how this would work. Okay, that's pretty much it. Also, I know I can do stuff like this. Isn't this so cool? I love this program. I just wish you could hide this thing at the top. I've asked the guy if he could hide this thing, and he said no. The guy that created this program. So unfortunately, this is here, and I'm not happy about that. But anyway, let's watch this set. Hold on, there's no way this time has to be incorrect. Can I fix the time? Holy shit, is that time correct? No. Good. Okay. I'm not going to show these deck lists. I'm sure you're familiar with them very slightly. If you want to see them, you can always just join the Aegis server and check the lists yourself. But...
Tristana. They're on Demacia, Tristana. Okay. Tristana Demacia is even harder for us. Okay, I'm gonna ban it.
Yeah. So I think with this lineup, we're supposed to ban Tristana every time. People think this deck's good into Tristana. It's not. That's part of the reason why I didn't bring it to the open, because this deck doesn't actually beat anything. It loses to the main deck of the format. It loses to the secondary deck of the format. It loses to Nasus. It loses to Karma. And it loses to... By the way, I'm not a doctor. And it loses to, like, everything else. That's why I didn't end up bringing it. It loses to... Oh, it beats Lek, sorry. This deck is the one that loses to Lek. But, yeah. Anyway, we banned that deck.
I mean, like, we could deny the Tristana, like, we're supposed to do okay into it, but... I'm so annoyed they keep banning the Gwen deck. It's the only deck I really want to play it, but okay.
I will say we're on 2 denies, and I also added a deny to this deck in the end, the Samira, to try and beat champion strength stuff, but I just think we're supposed to ban Tristana anyway. Okay, Kamisat Targon versus Fizz Samira.
Their Fizz Samira is on I've Nakagibaras instead of a few other things, but I think we should keep like this.
Basically, to beat Fizz Samira, Youngling is premium. They have no ways of killing Youngling outside of Samira Challenger +2 strength. So Youngling is just like, it's going to win you the game against this deck pretty much all the time. Mixo is very similar. It trades into at least 1 or 2 of their units, and it'll heal you 3 and generates a coin. By the way, I don't know if you guys think this. This card kind of looks like Hash, the EU player. I don't know if you guys agree, but this card always reminds me of Hash. I think I saw him once on a cast, and he had the stat line of a 3-mana a 4-mana 3/4. And his tribal was like not mixologist or something. But I don't know. I think he actually might be mixologist. Anyway, we don't keep Karma because it's a late game card, but we already have an amazing hand by having both of these cards, right? This is just a phenomenal hand for us to have.
Maybe
Not unusable, but definitely a good hand.
Do you guys have thoughts?
No, this seems good, yes.
Oh, that's fair. Echo would never stray. Huh.
Oh, Gimsy says in chat that Echo will never strike against the Kennen Smears.
Fizz. Okay, if you lose. I'm joking. We won't lose in the game. Okay, we've got a lot of healing. This is a lot of
Yeah, so, this hand kind of already beats their deck. What the fuck are they gonna do against all of this? The best they can do is Father Fury and Monkeys and level a Samira. But what I've just said is their high roll. What I've just said is they need to high roll, which is a phenomenal position to be in when your lose condition is them high rolling and nothing else.
We just have to make sure that we don't put Youngling into losing to all out range. But fuck, this is a lot of damage. Okay. I'm gonna play Priestess because we need it as like a blocker a little. I think... Oh, this is close. Sister is an elusive blocker and Falling Comet isn't that good. Like, Falling Comet only really hits Inferno. And we put Thunder, so I think we do Sister. Okay?
So we already have an Inferno answer. This is our Inferno answer. We don't really need to do this. The best this could do is draw a Sett or a second Karma when Karma is flipped. However, Golden Sister allows us to threaten trading into this or threaten trading into Father Fury while also having the Life Seal keyword, which again, this deck is a combo aggro deck, but it's also winning through like aggressive burn styles, right? After turn 8, they're going to be really struggling to win. Now we're already, right, at 19 plus 9. We're already at 28 health. Plus, let's say this is on the board for 3 more rounds. Let's say this is on the board for 4 more rounds. Plus 3 to, I don't know, 4 or 5. We're already at 31 health. This deck can deal that much damage, but if we add even more and we get this to 35 or 39, like, Jesus Christ, right? Like, that's good. That's good for us. That's a good position for us to be in. And this just ensures our win condition, makes it even harder for them to win, right? In a weird sense, this splits our win condition into controlling the board and healing out of them. And this ensures that win condition that we can just heal out of them forever. And it also develops the board, because Golden Sister is still units, right? So I think Golden Sister's
I agree
great.
with Sister.
But I will say we don't have answers to these butchers just yet. Right? I'm being very confident here, but we technically haven't answered butcher.
We also don't really want to mix it that badly. See what happens. If they play Inferno, we'll just Sunburst it.
I sure hope they don't play monkeys for 2
We're currently at 29 health, plus however many this heals us. Stylish shot, all out. Pirouettes? Pandemonium.
This man just loves playing Pandemonium. I think that's really funny.
Okay.
Do you want to... It depends if they've got Warning Shot. I wanted to kill Fizz, but if they've got Warning Shot, that's just like, we're gonna lose. I think what we should do is we should stun a Butcher.
Yes. What did they use to trigger Thunder?
Stylish Shot.
Okay.
I'm just scared of warning shot, because we could easily lose to warning shot if we target Fizz. So I'm thinking that we should just stun a butcher.
Yeah, stunning a butcher is safer, yeah.
But I would have liked to have deny again.
Okay, we've got 3 options, right? We can do. This is a weird frame to pause it on. I actually want to pause it on just like a little bit of an earlier frame, because that way we can see the monkeys. Hold on, let me just hover over this again. Oh no, I'm literally going frame by frame here. Okay, so we've got a couple of options. I think our best 3 options are this, and eventually what we did play, which was this. If we play this card, what's going to happen is that this unit will drag here, or this unit will drag here. It doesn't really matter. Let's see how they can do the most damage. Let's do it that way. This unit would be blocked, this unit would be blocked, and this unit would be blocked by the Mixo, right? We would be taking 4 plus 3 plus 2 plus 3 burn. That isn't actually that much, let's be honest. This is only 12 damage. We're trading into this. This is the only unit they'd have remaining, and we'd still have a bunch of healing left. So I think Mixo is a perfectly fine play. Again, Mixo also survives. So we'd be at 12 HP. I'd actually be at 13 because Mixo would still heal 1 to the day. We'd be taking 12 damage, which means we would be at 7. But then we'd also be healing 1 from the Mixo, so we'd be at 8. And then we'd be playing Mixo again next turn, and the only way we really lose is another set of monkeys. Basically, right? And even if they play another set of monkeys, we've also got 3rd Mixo, and we could also play this, right? So, to a certain extent, playing Mixo would be relatively safe. Alternatively, we can play Concussive Palm. Now, I play Concussive Palm on the stack. This is wrong. We're supposed to play Concussive Palm after monkeys goes through, so the Concussive Palm doesn't have vulnerable. If I play that correctly, right, we do Concussive Palm afterwards. This trades into you, this trades into you. We do Concussive Palm, it stuns you, and then it's going to trade into you, right? So, that's definitely not what I wanted to do. I didn't mean to open Premiere. We take 4, right? We're trading into this. We take 2 more, and then we're only taking 3 damage. What we're doing by playing Concussive Palm properly is we're going to take about 9 damage, which is fine. Again, we're going to be able to heal afterwards. I'm mostly illustrating this to say that while the board state looks kind of scary, we're in such a favorable position that's not going to matter. Now, I don't think they're going to drag this into this. I think they're going to drag this into this to kill this unit off and deal with our board slightly better. I think that's a better play for them. But that means they're dealing even less damage this turn, right? They're dealing 2 less damage this turn. Either way, just look at our hand. Look at how few cards they have in hand. Look at our health total, and look at the fact that it's like so early on and they're playing monkeys. I think we're in such a favorable position here that it almost doesn't matter which line we go for, this one or this one. By the way, Sunburst was going to be on this unit, but we'll just take too much damage, right? Developing 2 units is quite important here. This develops 2 units. This develops 1 unit, but we also heal a little bit, and it trades into this positively. It doesn't die, which means we get to keep this unit for future turns. I think the best play here, though, is actually supposed to be Mixo. I know this saves us 4 more health or so, something like that. But keeping this as a reactive tool later can be important if, like, I don't know, they draw, like, 3 all-outs in a future turn. Like, they do Barb Chain into Samira, into all-out, into all-out, into all-out, and that's how they go for a lethal, right? Our lose condition is that sort of crazy hand where they do barbed into, like, 2 Pandemoniums and, like, 3 all-outs or something like that. That's their win condition, right? And to be that win condition, we should just keep the draw this card, I think. So I think I would have preferred to do Mixo. But this isn't a bad play, and we're in such a favorable position that I think this is justifiable into most of their hands. Most of their hands makes this play better, but it doesn't matter to be better. It just matters to lose, to not go into your lose conditions. And I think if those are lose conditions are the ones where they have either Barb Chain, or they've got Inferna plus a bunch of all-outs, right? Like Inferna, Samira, all-out, blah, 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 blah. We can only kill 1 of the Infernas or something. Then, yeah, I think I would have rather had this so we can stun whatever unit they buff a bunch with the all-outs. I hope that logic makes sense. I don't know if you guys agree with that, but that's the logic I would go with. So I think Mixo was better, but we obviously lose out on 2 healing value, and that's obviously too much to lose. Doing this now was a misplay though, right?
Guess we can still draw it, maybe.
Oh, we should have done this after combat, by the way. After the trades. That way we can kill the butcher. That's my bad. I got too quick. We could have killed butcher if we did this afterwards. I was just playing too quickly there.
Yeah, this came up last game as well, didn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, we could easily lose based on that. That was way too quick. We'll start with Mixer. There's Denial. I can't pass, so we're just gonna start with Mixer. And if they play Inferno, so be it.
Like, it's so important that that misplay happened, by the way, because not only did we lost our 3-2 for no reason, we also let them keep this unit, right? If we just stunned afterwards, the board would look entirely different. We'd actually have board parity. We'd have 2 units, they'd have 1 unit, and we'd be at more HP by exactly 1. So, like, that is a big misplay. I'm not talking about it enough, right? That was a massive misplay. Don't do that in those positions, but it's less important to, like, the review aspect, right? What's the better play? What should we do, etc. Right? Like, how should we think about the entire game state?
Because that would prevent, like, 7 or 10 damage if we did that properly. Because we would have traded into Butcher that turn, and this Butcher wouldn't be here in future. That's a really bad misplay. I'm sorry for playing too quick. I'm gonna pass back. I don't let them do anything.
We didn't have board parity, by the way. I lied. I'm thinking badly. I meant board parity is only if we play this card first. But yeah, sorry. But if we play this card first and then play another one, then we definitely have board parity.
If they have another monkey, do we even deny it? We do, right? Just in case they got pirouette, I guess. I was thinking like we could play Silver Sister, but
Yes.
yeah, that's also fair. Stylish shot, then what? Swindle? Are they gonna swindle deny? Are they gonna try and find deny? What else could they take? They could take Sister, they could take Mixer. So they've got a swindle card in hand, we should keep that in mind. I unfortunately have no clue what was just said, I do apologize. So it was a bit muddled. This is pirouette. I mean, it could be monkey business, but I think this is pirouette. Monkey business. I think I'm gonna suggest that we just do Mixer. We could set up an elusive blocker, but I just don't want to get pirouetted, right? And I want to still have deny for monkey business.
Yeah, play Mixer, play Mixer.
I mean, if they do monkey business, they're not gonna deal that much damage, but we'll do Mixer. We're starting to get into
When I say monkey business, I mean pound of pandemonium, by the way.
where they're gonna get like a bunch of Shumble orders though, just because we can't interact with Fizz efficiently.
I mean, a monkey business would actually be quite a lot of damage because of vulnerable.
I've had Pandemonium. Maybe, but like, I don't know if it's a lethal.
Yeah, sorry.
No, but I said monkey business too, so don't worry.
Oh, but I thought you meant actually monkey business because they played actually monkey business, but okay.
That's
There
fine.
it is.
We're gonna deny it.
Let's go.
And I mean, we've
So now we're gonna block
won.
both butchers,
right?
if they attack with the butchers. Or if not, they're just gonna attack with the fizzes, that's fine. No, we're gonna block the butchers. No, we're gonna... Okay. We're gonna do this. Because we still have a bunch of healing with Sister and Mixer. And I think we'll play Sister and just attack with it.
But they have the swindle card, right?
They do have what they swindled, yeah. So what do you think they swindled? Like, Sisters themselves?
Maybe.
I mean, if they swindle Sunburst, we have to deal with it at some point. And honestly, them Sunbursting here would be pretty good for us.
Yeah.
I think we're supposed to play Sisters. Like, they could Sunburst the Sisters themselves. But that's fine. My expectation is that they probably either took Mixo or Sunburst. Mixo because it's a big beater and Sunburst for Sunburst reasons. Just to kill like Arcana or something. This Fizz is gonna be such a pain in the ass. We're gonna attack with the Sister just to make sure we get the healing from it. And either kill the Overwhelm unit or this or all out. I think we actually just attack like this. Ooh, do they have second Fizz? I think I'd rather have second Fizz than Playful Trickster on the field. I think. Maybe we're playing as a third Pandemonium. Because they do run 3 copies. This might be third Pandemonium. Maybe we shouldn't have... I don't know. I guess I'm playing too quickly.
So we have the option of not attacking into them, right? Just not let them get positive trades in, because if they play Pandemonium here, we do just lose. Right? Or not entirely lose, but we get to a point where like Pandemonium is threatening a lot of damage, right? Because it would be 6 damage from all the things, plus 2 times 4, right? Which is equal to 8. That's, 14. We'd be healing 2 more, so we'd be going to about 16 because of this thing. They've got stylish shots, so +1 is 15, right? We'd be taking a lot of damage. If we just hadn't attacked there and decided to block, right? They can't Pandemonium before attack, right? And we'd be able to do a lot more positive trades and not be as scared, right? And then this part of the equation doesn't matter if they use up their attack token, right? So if they've got units on field, it means they can't Pandemonium before attack, and if they do, we're fine, and if they don't, then we're only taking so much damage, right? So attacking there was probably wrong because of Pandemonium. Just quickly remind you what that attack was. Like, what did we really gain out of this attack? We got to get our heal, but we were going to heal anyway on the block unless they played Pirouette. Like, this in theory was me trying to play around Pirouette, but I just don't think that matters enough, especially with the fact that we can just, like, develop units after they Pirouette and it's not going to be too scary. So, I think we misplayed. Anyway, they do thingy with Swindle.
So if we survive this attack, we should just win with, like, karma stuff, right?
In theory, yeah.
Do we just want to do another mixer?
Well, I mean, what else are we gonna do?
I think this is just fine. We can do another mixer.
Yeah.
Next turn we'll do karma. So they could have taken our sunburst again. In fact, it's way more likely. They're only seeing, they saw, what, 3 cards of ours. So I don't know if we'll play... What was this? Sorry, it's really hard to hear these things. I really apologize because it's annoying to have that happen.
Be the sunburst at the very least.
We should keep the sunburst for...
And then I think
Only
Gibbs.
for
I mean, we could have done it here to prevent the stylish shots, right? I think was another option. I think they could have taken sunburst, which is why I don't want to play karma this turn. Which I think is maybe what Gibbs was trying to say. I really apologize, Gibbs. But I'm going to pass it. And I'm just going to hope that we can do karma stuff next turn and win.
The heck?
They took another place of bets. Okay, so
What's
they didn't
going
have
on?
sunburst.
What the?
Which means
Sorry,
they should actually have any...
I'm very concerned. What just happened? I didn't know this program could do that. What have I done? I need an adult. I don't know what I've done and I'm scared. Well, I'm in pan and zoom mode. Oh, okay. I didn't know that was a thing. Cool. Sorry. Full screen. Yes, button. H. Large H.
Any way to kill karma. Besides swindling another sunburst, they don't have a way to kill karma. And they're only on 2 swindles, so I think we should play karma. They don't have a way to kill it.
Probably for safety, I would attack first.
I mean, if they've got another pandemonium, I think we should just keep our blockers, right? So I'm willing to attack with this. Also, maybe we shouldn't attack so we can threaten Sett. But, I don't know.
I don't know, if you play Karma, you're not threatening Sett anyway.
Well, we've got coins. So we are.
Okay, but you wanna use coins before?
Yeah, because we
you
can
play
place your
Karma?
bets, right? Like, we don't need to worry about coins being too large.
I guess so, okay.
Do you want a sunburst, Samira?
Yeah.
I think this is a way we lose the game, I guess. Actually, pick up their deck runs.
By the way, I don't know if this was seen in the thing, but one of their swindled cards was place your bets. I think I've done a... God damn it. I think they at one point they played 2 copies of Thingo, because that says 4 there. They drew just like a bunch of cards, is my understanding.
And Samira, I'll be honest. I've just been focusing on movies, but we'll play karma. And then look, we've got place your bets, we've got inside of Aegis. I think we're going to struggle to lose. We could lose. There are worlds in which they just burn us because they've got 20 million cards in hand. But hopefully we're fine. Mystic is nice. Okay. Ghost is funny. Okay, damage version of Flare. And then Samira. Should we search for a way to kill Samira? Or should we just like pass? I don't know.
What's that?
Should we start with inside of Aegis or should we start with place your bets? Start with place your bets. Let's just see what happens. Until stones we could...
I agree with place your bets.
do you want to play Sett and just like pog off?
Yes. Yeah. Okay, so in case you're not reading the chat, Spidz, what Jamsey meant to say was they probably saw Sunburst in hand.
That's fair. That makes sense. Sorry. Thank you.
Ah, you're welcome.
We should be very fine though. Stylish shot. I mean, we're gonna block everything, right? Like if they try and get the stylish shots back, we're just gonna ghost block.
Yeah.
I mean, so like I know it's gonna look like it's bullshit, but we did have concussive palm, right? To them, it's gonna look like we've just like, you know, gotten like the biggest high roll in NA, right?
No, really. We would have been able to stop that anyway.
How much mana do we get? Oh, we got 4 mana. That's fine. I'm just double checking if this block is worth it. Look, they're playing to their outs, right? Like, this is the right play for them, even if it's very beatable by most of our hands. Like, no matter what hand we have, we can almost always beat this, even with Targon Stones, right? But they're doing the right play. it's just gonna be like really irritating, I think. Especially since this guy is famously rather salty. Simon. Glad to deal with them. Okay. Our open attack is not yet lethal, so I'm gonna quickly play coin and just try and make it so that we've got a lethal open attack. And just win that way.
I'm not saying much, it doesn't really matter, so don't worry.
All 3 monkeys.
Oh, they played 2 monkeys. Do we have to be worried about them? Well, no, we're gonna silence it, and then it's gonna be like the funniest thing you've ever seen.
Yeah. Okay, I hadn't thought about that.
That's beautiful. I'm so happy we could do that as a play. I mean, it might mean that we don't have open attack lethal, but probably. I mean, we can still easily win. Right? Okay, Ken and Samira versus this. Okay, so what we want to do is like have our elusives block their elusives, I think, and also challenge their stuff. But we could easily lose here. I've never done this matchup, and I don't know how to play our deck that well. Is this a full keep?
I'm not sure how much I trusted that droplet since we don't have anything to recall it.
I kind of like this hand, but I don't know if I'm missing something.
I think I would take away Cannon if you're teaching Black Flame as well.
So you want to do this?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Interesting. Having more experience with this deck, I think I would have kept Kennen, but I can definitely see the logic of removing Kennen. Interesting, interesting, interesting. I think... Weird, I would keep Kennen here. But you know what? I agree with Roma and Gamzee. I think you're actually supposed to keep Kennen here. But in the open, I would have kept Kennen in these positions every single time. So that's interesting.
If we get something to recall, you want to use it on the droplet anyway.
Yeah. Do you have a preference on what to play first? I presume Tristana Disciple.
Yeah, Disciple.
I will do this block if they give it to us.
Yeah, of course.
Okay, then I'm gonna play Droplet. I mean, we could have played Droplet first, maybe, but I didn't expect them to do that trade necessarily. And that trade was gonna happen if we attacked anyway. I'm gonna do Droplet.
Droplet's definitely better for us.
If they pirouette, we just like cog out. We've got Shadow Shift, which is key.
Let's talk about these plays. Sorry, I know I'm being a bit aloof. I think doing that trade is really, really good for us. We want to level Kennen primarily off Droplet. That's the best thing we can level Kennen off of, especially with a hand of 4 recalls. Our Stein Disciple is fine, but it actually costs a lot of mana. It costs 3 mana just to get a draw 1, and it does develop the board when we do that, right? Like, because we're recalling it and replaying it. That's not developing the board. That's just like a flicker. While this is a really nice unit to have, the Droplet. So I think we made the right play by doing that trade, and then we're actually in like a really good position. I know this seems weird, but position is like fine.
Yeah, to beat like, I don't know, Jagged Butcher or something. Okay, we've got a lot of recalls.
Sorry, Jamsey, did you say that you think it might have been worse for us, the trade?
Wait, was that a Silent Shot? Okay, they did Silent Shot. We could prevent them from getting Silent Shot if we really desperately want to. Via Shadow Shift and Gruesome Theater on the Father Fury. Although giving them another Father Fury proc might just not be what we want to do. They're thinking about not attacking, I think, because they want to, like, threaten stuff. Oh my god, if this is what they do, I'd be so happy. Fuck. So they played Stylish Shot, so I don't know if you want to do Gruesome Theater on Father Fury or not. Oh, we could do it on Butcher as well. No, that's much better, although they've done monkey business. So I think at this point we're just gonna do Shadow Shift.
Yeah, Shadow on Droplet seems good here.
Like right
now? If you do it now, yeah, if you do it now, you can play Droplet again, and we also block
Father Fury. And then recall it. Okay. Interesting. Sorry.
Okay. We can even not recall it.
These guys are so much smarter than me. I never would have seen doing this at fast speed. That would have never crossed into my mind. I was thinking about all this stuff about denying the Stylish Shot by recalling one of their units and jumping in front of it, but god, they're just so smart.
And I think we shouldn't. I think we should just replay second Droplet.
I agree.
We should just do this, I think. Do you like this, Gimsy?
I do, yes.
I can't tell if Gimsy said I don't like it or if I do like it. But I think he said that he liked it. I'm so sorry that it's hard to hear you, Gimsy. It's so frustrating for both you and I think.
Yeah, I'm really sorry because it's hard for me to understand you as well.
I just noticed there's no denies in this deck. Well, fuck. I've just seen this. Uh-oh. Are we recalling just to recall? Like, just to get a...
I think we have to, yes.
They've got Inferno. Inferno is the counter to this deck. I think this matchup's pretty good for us, but Inferno basically makes it instantly one for them. We don't have any ways to kill Inferno, so Inferno just wins their game for them every time.
Yeah. I think either is fine.
We have to literally get Samira
Sign
plus
it,
a strength buffer to kill Inferno. That's the only way.
Signon's interesting. Signon can give us something or anything. But this is kind of why I wanted to keep Kennen, because Kennen can interact with the board a little and apply a bit more pressure. I guess we're just going to do Conspirator and try and draw into Kennen or Samira. Stylish shot. Swindle. Oh. Okay. They've got a Swindle card in hand. And a fleeting one. Do we want to do Gruesome Theater? Or maybe Targon?
Yes.
Sorry, Targon?
Yes, no, I think this is good. We don't want them to have too many stylish shots.
Treat return. Okay, I'm gonna play Droplet and then Conspirator.
Yes.
Try and find Kennen. And then we might need a Signon next turn. Tag out, Jesus Christ. Do you wanna play Droplet again? Or are we scared of, like...
we might need
I'm scared of stuff like Pirouette. It just depends.
You might lose the droplet dice.
Yeah, exactly. So I think we should pass. If my understanding
Yeah,
is that
passing
you
is
said
fine.
we might lose a Droplet dice. That's what I think you said. I'm so sorry. Samira, okay. Do you want to start with Samira?
Yes.
Do they run heavy metal? No, they don't.
No.
With Samira, we don't have a way of killing Inferno, unfortunately. That was unplundered barb chain, holy shit.
Wow. Okay, sure. Now I think you play droplet.
Okay. I think we just want to level Samira, or just do as much as we can.
Yeah.
Maybe we should...
Yes, leveling Samira is definitely what we should go for.
Are we gonna self-gruesome... I want to get Wuji style to kill Inferno, like, really badly. Should we recall with, like, Retreat Return or Gruesome Theater?
Okay, what we could do is coin, tag out on droplet, coin again, to like turbo level Samira.
Okay. I'll take your word for it as an option. I don't know how much I agree with it. I really want to find, like, Wuji style or something that lets us at least threaten Inferno. Signon. Or a Kennen. But no. Droplets. I'm gonna challenge Inferno to the Conspirator. Or do you not want to
Yes,
attack?
that's fine.
We could just not attack, that's also
No, I do want to attack. No. We should attack. Yeah, challenging like that is fine.
And then I'm gonna play a coin to level Samira.
Yes, exactly.
That way this is free. We're getting scared of them possibly having Pirouette.
I would like to say if we kept Kennen in our opening hand, we would basically have already won. So I really think we were supposed to keep Kennen.
Okay. They could have all out as well.
I'm not going to keep track of their hand, by the way.
But they haven't proc Plunder, so they need to proc Plunder first. And they didn't proc Plunder when they played Thinger. Okay, they've got all out. Which means they're not drawing. This is still like decent for them, especially if they've got monkeys.
Yeah, I mean, plus now we are still able to recall her with Gruesome Theater if that's necessary.
Maybe. I mean, I'm just expecting them to play monkeys and we're just gonna lose immediately, right? I mean, we could recall 2 monkeys, but that's not gonna be great for us. Swindle, Jesus Christ. Okay. Have they played what they previously swindled? No, right?
I don't think so. No, I don't think so.
Yes, they've got 2... Oh, they still sign it?
Have some people.
I will say, their hand must have been extremely bricked to have no ways of proccing Plunder so that they can't Inferno combo. And they had to pick a sign in here? Like...
Oh wait, so they have no fleeting cards played?
I don't know if that swindle was fleeting. I didn't see in time. But could we win? Like, could we recall in... but we can't really get through sign-in. Should we just play our own sign-in? Yeah, but we can't win, I don't think, this turn, right?
No, but...
Do we want to return our own droplet or something to just see if we draw Kennen? Oh, fuck. Okay, I'm gonna return our Kennen, I think. I'm not confident in this gameplay, but I think this is alright. Shadow Shift.
Yeah, no, that's valid.
Okay, we're gonna Shadow Shift kill Inferno.
Yes. Yes, right, yes, okay. I actually hadn't thought of that. Good. And I think you do also recall Sign here.
Okay.
We're calling Sign-In because it costs a lot of mana, so they can't really replay Sign-In without giving us a win gun.
But we don't have any mana. We can't, like, rally or anything.
Yeah, that's fine. I mean, we don't want to rally on this board.
I guess so, okay. We'll do this. Are we just open attacking with Samira then? I have no clue what was said. I'm so sorry again.
We won't openly waste the rally, right?
Well, we could play one unit, right? Like, we've got enough time
thanks.
for one spell. Or one
Yeah, playing Sign and could be valid.
I think we should play Droplet.
Or Droplet. Yeah, that's fine.
Or Kennen.
Yes, play Kennen, definitely. And then we attack.
I mean, unless they've got Pirouette, then we're gonna waste the rally. I think we should open.
No, really. If they pirouette, that's fine, I think.
You sure?
I'm sure, yeah.
It just means we're gonna waste the rally, but okay. God, there's gonna be so much to think about. Oh, let's open right now, right?
Yeah.
We should be able to rally multiple times this turn, I think. We
Flare!
should do the Mark of the Storm right now, so that it's not wasted in our hand.
though. We lose a flag.
I just meant one.
Oh, no.
Oh, yes. Yes, you do one. And that
we
could
get-
be enough, yeah.
Yeah, we get the flare in hand. Alternatively, we could have just done the flare itself, but we might want to use Challenger depending on what they play.
Yeah, no, this is good. Yes.
Then we're gonna play Droplet. This is
Yes.
so much fun, by the way. I know I sound stressed. I'm enjoying this so much. This is like an incredibly enjoyable deck.
I know, right?
I'm gonna play Droplet.
Yes.
Then we're probably gonna do, you know, nonsense spells forever. Monkeys? Pirouette. Okay. I'm gonna recall Droplet.
Yes. Recall Droplet.
I know I'm not commenting much. I think my in-game audio is good enough to explain what's going on. I don't think I've seen any egregious misplays yet. Everything I've seen, it seems correct.
And I'm gonna give Kennen Challenger when we do the flare step. Gonna replay Droplet.
Yes.
I'm gonna give Kennen Challenger. I'm gonna need to play 3. So we've got Challenger, Mark of the Storm, etc. Let's do Mark of the Storm.
Yeah, that's fine.
And then I think we'll do double flare and just attack, kill Fizz. I don't know if that's the best play, but I think it's good enough. Challenger. Oh wait, we've already rallied. Hold on, I forgot we've already rallied.
Yeah, that is why you're not playing any other card.
Sorry, no, I was trying to get a rally. My bad, Reyna.
Sorry, in my head we hadn't rallied yet, so I was going to play another flare so that we could start attacking. That's my bad.
Maybe we should have recalled Samira just so it does 3 damage whenever we attack. Well, we can double stun Simon. That's fine.
Well, we call Samira, right? Yeah,
But also,
okay, so you do this and we rally. You do this and we rally.
You sure?
Uh,
I'm thinking maybe we should just recall it because it costs so much mana.
yes. Oh, you mean Silent? No, what I'm thinking is you Gruesome Theater on Samira and then replay Samira.
Okay.
No, that's not Gruesome Theater.
Sorry, look, I don't know. Okay.
Don't worry.
Recall Samira. We should have done this beforehand then. 'Cause-
Yeah, we should have recalled Samira before we did the Mark of the Isles, because Mark of the Storm, because when you do this on the stack, it does still count, right? It does it before Samira goes through, so then Samira would be at F, which means then we could replay Samira, then we would have all the cards in hand. But we've won, right?
Thank
And
God.
they
Okay.
stranded.
We should have done that beforehand. We could have done so much more better there, but we ran out of time and it's our first time playing this deck. Wait, for at least like my
No,
fourth
really.
time. Okay.
It's okay.
We should have done that at the start, by the way, and because it works on the stack, we should have done Samira before we did the Mark of the Storm.
I'm not 100% sure that we should have done it at the start. It might have been better to represent mana.
I don't think, against, they don't have interaction in their deck, so I don't think so. They're only
Yeah, so what the debate is there is that, like, we rallied at least once by the time they did Pirouette, right? So if we just recalled Samira, then Samira would be able to apply a lot more pressure beforehand. And I'm saying that because they don't have any interaction, like, it's fine, right? If the interaction is second Pirouette, like, so be it, right? But that way, Samira is able to push damage, which means she's able to do more damage. But I don't even know what hands they're going to have that make that
interaction
scary.
is Pirouette.
Okay, that's fair. It might have been better to keep the crews on theater to interact with them then.
Maybe, but I think like if we're trying to combo. By the way, sorry, I want to just re-say that was so much fun that game. But I think we should have gotten Samira because I think if we wanted to rally multiple times, that would have been how we done it. But yeah, thank you for bringing those up. Thank you for you guys getting those reps in with this deck because I just didn't have time yesterday, right?
That's why we're here.
Yeah.
And then I ended the recording. By the way, I love that I get to hear Roma while I'm not even talking with him. He's just like on the internet. That's it. I don't think these games were particularly interesting. You do get to see Samira Kennen and Samira Fizz fight, which I think is a good matchup for us. But they drew poorly, right? Like they drew poorly. They just had a hand that like Inferna does beat our deck, but they didn't have the hand that makes Inferna beat our deck. They just had Inferna herself. Everything else felt fine. We definitely drew well because we had Droplet. Like, Droplet's so important. And we did kick Kennen. I think we should have kept Kennen even though it ended up working out. But yeah, I think that's it. I think the main takeaways are from, like, Set 1, Game 1. We shouldn't have recalled the unit. Set 2 is more about our deck build being a little bit awkward for Karma Set Targon. Game 3, which we won, was just us having more healing, right? We had healing in our mulligan, they lost, right? I think BBBS definitely lost on draw, like their a lot, right? Which is unfair for them. It's unfortunate, but we can't really change that. That's not something we can manipulate. And yeah, that's about it. Thanks for watching. I will see you tomorrow with hopefully the Tron and the... Who else did we fight? We fought Tron and one other team. Tron and MRT. We'll do the Tron and MRT tomorrow, unless we do the CDS finals, but I doubt it. Okay, bye.